going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Now, in yesterday's video, we literally made the video right here as Bitcoin had this little mini fake out pump. We got up to about 11,550 and then we pulled back. And in yesterday's video, some people were saying, see, bullish news comes out and Bitcoin just dumps anyway. Well, number one, I'd say this is pretty much more of a sideways consolidation. Also, let's just have a bit of a macro look, okay? This is the 7-day chart. Now, yes, some of the altcoins are not performing quite well. Keep in mind, most altcoins were up like 10x, okay, about a month ago, but Bitcoin is still up 3.5%, Ethereum 7%, lots of the top tier altcoins doing quite well, so I wouldn't really say that Bitcoin is dumping. I would just say it's taking a bit of a breather, but something we need to talk about, and this is something that I mentioned 10 days ago, and that is the fact that today we have the Mt. Gox trustee making the decision whether or not to release the 150,000 Bitcoin to the traders that had their Bitcoin stolen in the hack. Now, some people are saying this could be absolutely detrimental to the Bitcoin price if they were to all dump today. Well, I'm going to give a little bit of an opinion as to what we should be expecting today, what could happen if they do potentially get it released, although honestly they probably won't, but we're going to talk about what might happen if they do. So that is a key thing I want to discuss today. Also want to talk about the fact that we have Grayscale now accumulating about 77% of the daily Bitcoin, and think about all these big players that have come in, these publicly traded companies like MicroStrategy and Square, and I mentioned a whole bunch of them yesterday. What do you think would happen if that demand hits 100% or even more crazy? 105%, 110%, like we don't even have enough Bitcoin to actually match the demand. What do you think would happen to the Bitcoin price then? So we're going to talk about that. Also, the critical level that we are approaching right here, levels that we need to be in order for Bitcoin to really have that big move that everyone is anticipating. And finally, I want to end on some kind of positive news for Ethereum and actually cryptocurrencies as a whole. So we have a CFTC chairman coming out and actually saying that he is impressed by Ethereum. This is huge. Someone from the CFTC, a regulator, coming out and saying he's actually impressed by something like Ethereum. This could be massive for the space. So all that today. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, consider it. And we do give away a Ledger Nano S every single Monday. All you got to do is drop a comment and you are eligible. So without further ado, let's dive into the charts. Now, having a look right here, you are noticing that we are having these wicks to the bottom, but every time Bitcoin wicks down, it gets bought back up again and bought back up again and bought back up again. Now, you might be saying, well, we've technically had 3 daily red candles. Yes, that could be interpreted as potentially bearish. However, anything in this blue zone, even if we dip down to about the $11,100 level, is still a bullish territory. But the fact that every time Bitcoin takes a dip, it instantly gets bought back up, that shows that the whales are accumulating and they are not looking to have Bitcoin go below these prices right now, right? Now, having a look at the major trend, you notice that Bitcoin has been bouncing around sort of on this ascending channel, right? When we're above it, we tend to be a little bit overbought. When we're below it, we tend to be a little bit oversold. Could be a great opportunity to kind of guess when to buy and sell or when to long and short, right? But having a look right here, we are in fact above it. Now, this makes the second time that we are above these levels. So you might be saying, well, then that means that Bitcoin is in fact overbought, right? Time for a correction. I did say in my video 2 days ago that I would not be surprised if we saw one more major correction, a 30% even correction, before the next major move. Now, I could be wrong this time. We could just completely blow past all these levels and just continue straight to 15,000. I wouldn't be upset about that. It would just not be very like Bitcoin to sort of shake out the weak hands one more time. Now, if we zoom in here, you do notice that we are putting in another descending channel. This is on the 30-minute, very small time frame right now, but we are looking to break the top, and that is around $11,400. If Bitcoin is able to break above that level, we're probably going to see a lot higher prices very quick, very fast. However, if we do fall below this previous resistance turn support, that level is only sitting at about 11,300. So if we close below this level, Bitcoin may actually start trending back downwards, and this is where we could see that 11,000 buy-in. Now, having a look right here, you notice that this is a very, very strong weekly support. You could see that we have been supported by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 weeks pretty much. I know, where is the count from Sesame Street? Yes. Okay, so we've been here for a while, right? Very, very strong support. This makes me think that we are not going to be falling below this, and if we do, it will be a very short buying opportunity, as in get in, get out, and we're going to see one of those big wicks, right? That level is around 10,600, and that may be the lowest that we see the Bitcoin price go, unless we do see that crazy 30% correction like I had spoke about. But interestingly enough, one analyst trader who actually came out, Tone Vase, you're probably familiar with him. Now, Tone Vase tends to be one of the most pessimistic traders, in my opinion, analysts. He's usually always looking at the bearish side of things, right? And he actually recently came out and said he would not be shorting Bitcoin at these levels. Now, you can try to get some scalp shorts, but to be honest with you, with the way that Bitcoin is moving right now, if you are trading leverage, just my opinion, not financial advice, I would be looking to long the dips. When you have Bitcoin having a big dip of 5%, 10%, I would long that. I wouldn't be looking to short the resistances, but that's just my opinion. Also happens to be his opinion. But he says, examining the daily charts, there's little reason to expect a significant pullback beyond a 1 to 4 candle correction. He says this is ongoing with the Bitcoin consolidation, its gains from earlier in the week. Should this period last no longer than 4 days, as he predicts, he says that he would look to buy the dip at around 11,000. So $11,000. Yesterday we had Timothy Peterson coming out saying we're not going below $11,004, or at least there's a 90% chance we won't, right? He says, I would be looking to buy the dip or buy the breakout, but I don't know which one it's going to be. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying we're not going to go below 11K. So you do get a little bit hesitant when everyone thinks something's going to happen, right? Everyone can't be right all the time. But interestingly enough, this is what we need to talk about. And this is the potential black swan event, right? So on June 30th, we had the Tokyo District Court issuing an order to extend the submission of the Mt. Gox trustees' rehabilitation plan. The extension granted by the Tokyo Court was until October 15th, which is today. Today is October 15th, right? Yes, it is. It is October 15th. Good. That'd be crazy if I had this story planned and it was the wrong day, right? So considering previous deadline extensions, it is likely that the trustee will continue to postpone until fully ready. Now, even if the stolen Bitcoin gets refunded in the future, its potential impact on Bitcoin is difficult to gauge. The common argument is that it will create massive selling pressure on Bitcoin for the short time. Now, we had on-chain analyst Cole Gardner in an interview, and he actually explained why he doesn't actually think it would be that bad. And in fact, he thinks that they might not sell. And here's his reason. I found this very interesting. So Gardner said every single person who held Bitcoin in Mt. Gox has lived through 3 Bitcoin bull markets, where all 3 times price multiplied by a factor of at least 10. Few will have an easy time selling now, right as the next bull market is just getting started. If you've been waiting to get your Bitcoin since 2014, then you know a thing or two about patience. Patient sellers who move markets know selling all at once is a terrible way to maximize profits. The analyst also noted that the users that held Bitcoin on Mt. Gox likely made the Bitcoin from mining. Given that they are likely early Bitcoin miners, they most likely have an in-depth knowledge of game theory. And let's be totally honest, if any of these people are still actually in cryptocurrency now, 6 years later, you got to think that they actually have some faith in Bitcoin, the Bitcoin future, the price, etc. So there you go. If it does happen today, we might see a little bit of selling, but ultimately it probably won't be as bad as everyone is saying it'll be. Also, shortages of Bitcoin are totally possible, as Dan Tapiro points out. Grayscale is eating up Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. Around 77% of all the Bitcoin. What do you think happens if it goes to something like 110%? Shorts will be dead. Price can go to literally any number. Okay? And another thing we need to point out, I love looking at these fundamentals. I love looking at on-chain data. Glassnode pointed out Bitcoin accumulation has been on a consistent upwards trend for months. 2.6 million Bitcoin, roughly 14% of the supply, are currently held in accumulation addresses. Accumulation addresses are defined as addresses that have at least 2 incoming transactions and have never spent Bitcoin. So we have a lot of hodlers, and if you've made it all the way to these levels, we're upwards of over $11,000. If you've bought Bitcoin in any time in the past decade and you're still holding today and you haven't sold, you're probably not gonna sell at these levels, right? So those are just some things we need to look at. Now, interestingly enough, and here's some cool news for my Ethereum hodlers out there, 60% of all ETH hasn't moved in over a year. With ETH phase 0 approaching, it'll be interesting to see how much this percentage comes down by as Ethereum OGs move their stash into staking. I'm particularly curious, this is Anthony Sassano, if any of the coins in the 5-year category moves. And on top of that, we have this insane bullish video clip coming out from CoinDesk. Now, this is from Chairman Heath. He's the 14th CFTC Chairman. All right, now this is big news. Now, if you guys don't know what the CFTC is, well, here's the actual definition from Google. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is an independent agency of the U.S. government created in 1974 that regulates, ready for this, the U.S. derivatives market, which includes futures, swaps, and certain kinds of options. Now, think about the recent news of what we heard from over in the UK, with wanting to ban crypto derivatives. These guys are the guys that regulate it. And you have this dude over here, Chairman Heath Tarbert, coming out and saying that he's actually impressed by Ethereum. I'll actually play this clip for you super quick so you guys can watch it.
Now, let me just basically say how impressed I am with Ethereum, full stop, period. And that when I think about this as a regulator, I think of it almost analogized to email versus the internet. If Bitcoin is email, a one-trick pony, so to speak, but obviously revolutionary, Ethereum goes far beyond that. It's more like the internet.
Wow. So not only does he recognize Bitcoin as revolutionary, but he also really sees Ethereum as sort of the, next phase, the next level. So this could be big. Not a lot to go off on this video. It's a little bit of a tease, but it definitely keeps me pretty positive about the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, speaking about our favorite topic, DeFi, right? Some people it is, some people it isn't. Depends on when you bought into the DeFi hype, right? But we do have Andre Cronje, the founder of Dfinance. He has clarified his popular test in prod statement. Now, this clarification comes after another unfinished project, Liquidity Income, LBI, which did witness a rise and fall and media reports that said he quit DeFi. Now, there have been some other things that were sort of negatively happening around Cronje as well. Now, he said in the statements, he wants these to deter people from just using systems without investigation. In other words, don't just buy something, don't just get involved in something, simply because he said. Now, Dfinance made a lot of people a lot of money, right? I mean, I wish I had gotten in earlier. When one of the Telegram groups, it was actually my admin, Mike, he mentioned it around $900. I mean, think about that opportunity. Now, but the other thing is it had gone all the way up to about 33,000 or so. And even though, yes, it's up today, it's around 15,000, it did fall 65%. So these are why altcoins can actually be really risky. And you got to try to get in early. That's the thing, right? But we can often get caught up in the hype, and sometimes, these things happen. So, but, he did come out and say, look, just because I talk about something, it doesn't mean you need to jump on it, right? And I think that's just a good sort of way to look at it. a lot of people like to turn to these Twitter personalities or YouTube personalities, right? I talk a lot about cryptos, but just because I talk about something doesn't necessarily mean you should go buy it. You should always do your own due diligence. And I can't stress this enough. This goes for me. This goes for other gurus out there, these trading groups that tell you when to buy and sell. You never really know. So just be careful out there. But on the bright side, I do think we're still going to have another massive alt rally. When? I don't know 100%. I think a lot of eyes are on Bitcoin right now, but we are going to keep our eyes on it. And when we do have an opportunity for another crazy altcoin run, I'll be happy to, share some of those tokens as well. Now, one project actually that recently came out, PlotX, I just wanted to point out that they actually partnered with 3 commas. Now, we talked about a lot of these centralized solutions starting to go decentralized. Now, 3 commas is an amazing API integration if you're trading on Binance, KuCoin, pretty much any of the exchanges. I've actually talked about it a lot on the channel. Actually, if you guys are interested in 3 commas, this is like what the interface looks like. They actually have some kind of promotion going on right now. But if you are interested, I do have a link below. I think you get like 10% off. I don't even remember what it is. It's like 10% off your first sign up or something like that. But I do have that below, and it's really cool because basically, if you're trading on centralized exchanges, if you're using something like Uniswap, then I guess it just doesn't really work. I don't think they have integration into Uniswap, but you basically come down here, and I had Kusama up here the last time, and you just enter what you have, and it'll basically trigger it for you, so you don't have to sit there and do all the market buys, etc. But you're thinking to yourself, well, can't I just do this on the centralized exchange? These tools are a lot more advanced, okay? Oh, and the cool thing is they also have paper trading as well. So if you guys are interested in 3 commas, check that out. But yeah, they are integrating with PlotX. Now, the cool thing about this is that PlotX is decentralized prediction. So one of the things that are more beneficial about this is that you have counterparty risk. Users' funds are with the platform. If the platform gets hacked, funds are gone. On traditional exchanges, obviously decentralized, that's in your wallet, so it's your keys, right? Cost, centralized markets have high transaction fees on both entry as well as closing, and no provably fair algorithm. There is an incentive for the market owner to stack the odds in their favor. So you are seeing a lot of these decentralized solutions coming, decentralized finance. It's just a matter of, like I said, getting away from the vegetable tokens and moving towards things that we actually need in DeFi, right? So that is that situation moving forward. Also, shout out to BTC. Kyle, for pointing this out. Manage your Celsius account through Dfinance and earn a return of up to 6.2% APY on Bitcoin and 9.65% on Ethereum. Now, look, if you're holding a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum, am I suggesting you put this on the exchange? No, but I am saying if you're going to have it on an exchange anyway, you can make some APY. So shout out to BTC Kyle for pointing that out. And also super quick update from Oracle. This actually relates to Noya Network. So they had a podcast, an interview. It was actually the CTO Jonas over here on SoundCloud. I definitely recommend checking this out. And you can see right here, they say the biggest problems with the internet, security, connectivity, and visibility. Noya Network is tackling all of this above, right? And these are just more solutions that blockchain can actually solve, that this different type of decentralized solutions have that centralized solutions don't. A lot of it also you could talk about like data storage and user information, right? I mean, we just blatantly give so much information to these big conglomerates. What are they doing with our information? And how come we're not actually getting the benefit from this data that they're using, right? So those are all things I wanted to mention. And also today's video is in fact sponsored by Dfinance. Now, you might have heard a lot about Dfinance. These are actually the next evolution of the Wings guys. Now, if you know Wings, we had spoke about them on the channel a few years ago, actually. Well, this is the next step in the evolution. And what Dfinance is going to do is enable you to create and trade your own blockchain-based financial instruments with natural language tools. Now, one of the things that actually caught my attention was their partnership with Elrond. You guys know Elrond has been one of these sort of infrastructure platforms that has caught my eye. They're right up there, guys, with like Polkadot. Cosmos does pretty well, Elrond as well, and they are partnering with Dfinance to make Elrond native assets an integral part of innovative DeFi tools built on top of Dfinance. So they go on to say that the collaboration aims to establish a bridge between the two platforms. This, on one hand, will enable Elrond users to access DeFi products built on Dfinance, and on the other hand, will open the door for Dfinance users to be able to create new products that include Elron assets. So third parties recognize the opportunity potential and they can buy a share of the instruments and partake in their income. But you're probably saying, well, what the heck is Dfinance anyway? Well, this is directly from their overview on their blog. They're a decentralized platform for creating, offering, and trading of decentralized banking-level financial instruments. The platform enables professionals, retail, and traders to quickly and easily transform financial ideas into interesting and profitable banking-level instruments with no prior coding knowledge required. And this is also one of the things that we need in this space the most is these sort of plug-and-play solutions, right? Click and drag, these things that don't involve you to have knowledge of how to actually code on Solidity or write your own code, right? That is going to inhibit the average person, especially a trader, right, from using these types of stuff. So acquire new financial instruments and trade ownerships of these over secondary markets, and of course, capitalize on these instruments settlements. And as I told you guys yesterday, there is a little bit of construction happening right now if you do hear some weird noises in the background. So they do talk about use of their no-code tools to create financial instruments in minutes, integrations right here. So they do use Libra, Move, also Cosmos. They're also working as, with Chainlink for oracles. That's a very important part. They do have a DEX that will be coming soon. You can build on it. And the other thing too is they do have, if you scroll down here, they do have their testnet. So you can actually get started with that right away. And these guys also, they're not new. You can see from the team, most of them have been around since 2014, some since 2013. You actually have the technical lead, Boris. He developed the first DPoS DApp blockchain called Crypti, which actually served as the code base for Lisk and Arc. And he also helped develop the Wings DAO as well. So you do have the team with a lot of experience. Now, on the technical side, infrastructure on the one hand adopts all the proprietaries of good blockchain, high transaction, throughput, low latency, unconstrained scalability, etc. On the other hand, it proposes a simple solution, right? Talking about some of the key components, and here's probably where you're going to want to listen. The consensus mechanism is based on Tendermint proof of stake implemented by Cosmos, enabling decentralization of block producers. And more interesting is PegZone, which enables an interoperability with first layer blockchains like Ethereum, EOS, and Bitcoin, and others tapping into the liquidity captured by these blockchains. So interoperability is massive. You guys know I'm big on this, being able to actually move assets from different chains, also incorporating Bitcoin as well, and also decentralized oracles, huge. You guys know this is absolutely necessary. So what comes next? Well, they do say their immediate goal is the soft release of the testnet. They're going to encourage and provide incentives to newcomers to adopt the project with emphasis on education and onboarding assistance. An incentivized testnet program will also be launched, and you can look into some of those benefits as well. Now, the big news is they are going to be having a bonding curve sale. This is over on Uniswap. Now, go follow them. The token is XFI. And also, I just want to give you guys a warning. Anyone can make a token, especially over on Uniswap. So just because it says ticker XFI, please make sure that you verify the proper contract address. If you don't know what that is, go to Dfinance's official Telegram and ask them right there for the contract address, okay? Because there's lots of people getting scammed because they're buying the wrong tokens. Please don't get involved in that stuff. And you can see right over here, some of the functions of it include staking, network security, self-staking in order to ensure motives for running validators are aligned. They do require them to actually stake XFI. And keep in mind, if you are a bad actor, you do suffer slashing, and these coins will be permanently lost and burned. So in a way, like, bad actors actually promote sort of better tokenomics, I guess, although we don't really want that. Also, obviously, you have delegating and liquidity as well. Also, it'll be used for network gas fees. And here's the interesting part. So 20% is actually going to be set for just Wings. So if you're holding Wings now, 20% is going to be available for the swap. They have lots of information about that. But the coolest part is 71% is going to be distributed for staking rewards. I think this actually makes it a pretty fair distribution. whoever's staking it is the one that's going to get the reward. So it actually helps with more price discovery, rather than just having like these big whales essentially have it all. And the estimated circulating supply is only about 5.8 right at the beginning of the distribution. And you guys can see all the different charts here that let you guys know the different tranches and releases if you're interested. And yeah, so that is basically what is going on with Dfinance. Like I said, this is like the next evolution of Wings. Have a look at that if you're interested. And I did want to end on one bit of adoption. I like putting the adoption news at the end. We have a high-profile gamer joining SBI Holdings gaming arm, signing a contract to now receive his salary in XRP. So Ken Suzuki, a professional player of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, has signed a contract with SBI eSports, the gaming arm of Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings. Ken is also considered to be the world's best Sonic player. Oh yeah, Ken? I'm pretty good at Sonic. That was my jam growing up. But okay, Ken. So according to an official announcement posted by SBI, Ken will now be a part of their esports newly established SSBU division. The player will receive his annual salary in XRP instead of Japanese yen based on wishes of the player and the sponsorship with SBI VC Trade, SBI's crypto-focused venture arm. And with all of that being said, having a look at Bitcoin, basically at the same level we were 2 days ago. So gonna have a little bit to the upside, gonna have a little bit to the downside. Right now, we're looking for accumulation. We're waiting for that next big move. We'll know by the end of the day what's gonna happen with the release of the Mt. Gox trustees information, whether or not they're gonna get these tokens. But as I said, and as Cole Gardner pointed out, probably won't be as bad as most people are forecasting. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.